Welcome to Rider Gamer. My name's Kevin. In today's episode, well, I was watching a video by YongYea and he said just a small little nugget of information, and I was like, you know what? I have an opinion on that. So here we are.
Just absolutely perfect. No, there are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions. People have already taken notice of this statement and it's gone viral. You can tell how much people are clamoring for these types of pure gaming experiences. How welcome these kinds of rare breed games are when they do come along on a AAA scale every once in a while. On some level, it's kind of sad that seeing a statement like this brings me so much joy, because back in the good old days, this was just standard, right? Games were much more pure before corporate greed began to corrupt game design through the mandated implementation of monetization systems or artificial extension of gameplay that make games grindier so that the monetization systems can alleviate those artificially implemented insufferable elements. So
just a few things that I think we need to mention here. So he talks about corporate greed, but I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Now I'm going to say I don't really think it has anything to do with corporate greed, because maybe in the very beginning we could say it was somehow related to corporate greed. But there came a time in gaming history when the idea of corporate greed in this relation to technically DLC, when it was first implemented, because the term microtransaction wasn't even a thing when DLC was first announced. And then it became, the concept of negativity in the concept of negative day one DLC, pre-order bonus DLC, then exclusive store pre-order bonus DLC, and then there even came a point where there became exclusive collector edition DLC for different editions of a game. And that was actually at a point in gaming history that no gamer, no YouTuber made any kind of complaint about DLC at that time. That ultimately has proven that gamers themselves became so complacent, so used to DLC, this mindset that, well, it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere. We've raged and ranted on the internet, but it hasn't gone away. It's like, well, it hasn't gone away because you never did what everyone said they should have done, which was speak with your wallet. You want to sit here and talk about corporate greed, but the reality of any business is that they're going to go where the money is. And at the end of the day, they see people like you and me on the internet, on YouTube, bitching about what we don't like in gaming, but at its core, what they end up seeing is money. Because no gamer has ever, well, okay, individually there probably have been a few, but gamers as a whole, as a community, have never actually band together and been like, you know what? Let's ban this shit. So yeah, in the beginning, it was probably, in the very early stages, we could say that it was about corporate greed. But there came a moment in gaming's history where that very ideology was no longer a thing. And it had everything to do with basically the objective laziness of gamers. Gamers love to talk the talk, but at the end of the day, will they walk the walk? No, because we have proven this more times in any video game controversy than we have actually quote-unquote won. And even with the ones that we have won, such as, Xbox reversing used games, SimCity reversing the DRM, all was done for money. Not really because we could say that we as gamers woohoo shot it to them, alright? Because that was before these things were going to be released anyway, so they knew they would have lost money. So they did it, they reversed it because of money, not because of anything the gaming community did, or they think they did as a whole for those particular controversies. Because you look at a game like Mortal Kombat 11, it still has active single-player DRM in it. So there you go right there. That is gamers becoming complacent and accepting something that they vitriolized from Electronic Arts, but Ed Boon, Warner Brothers, and NetherRealms gets a pass for that DRM that still exists in that game. And thus is the hypocrisy of gamers. You know, we could sit here all day and talk about how shitty corporations are, but the reality of it is we're just as ignorant and arrogant to the ways of microtransactions, micro DLC, and DLC. We are the direct causation because of our acceptance for it. I mean, maybe like I said in the beginning, it was about corporate greed, but as of right now, it definitely isn't. It has nothing to do with corporate greed. They're just going where the money is because gamers do what they do best. They get pissy on the internet, but at the end of the day, they never band together to do what they all claim should be done, speak with their wallet. That's why day one updates still exist, which then fed into this concept of broken games being released. If we would have nipped that in the butt, we wouldn't have, you know, Sea of Thieves, Hello, No Man's Sky when it released, Cyberpunk, Redfall. The list could go on of all these, Fallout 76. They never would have been released broken if gamers would have stood together back in the day instead of accepting the laziness of day one updates. I mean, you can only blame corporations so far, but the reality of it is we're more to blame than them. They're going to go where the money is. And if more gamers have shown them, hey, we like this, we accept this, what do you expect? Because think about this. They often say that the whales for microtransactions is the minority. Well, if they're the minority, how come all of these other gamers that lay claim they don't purchase microtransactions don't speak with their wallet? Because at the end of the day, many gamers have this concept, don't like it, don't buy it, so that's exactly what... They'll get the game, they'll play it, they'll never buy a microtransaction, but that is them accepting the microtransaction. That is their willingness to approve of it. You don't have to purchase a microtransaction to agree with it or approve of it. Anyway, that's just one gamer's, one writer's 2 cents on corporate greed. What about that gamer greed? All right, that's pretty high right now. Otherwise, the gaming community wouldn't be the way it is right now. All I'm saying is we share the blame, not just the corporation. And that's a motherfucking fact.